United States and Pakistan tensions grow. Pakistani officials say the Obama administration has demanded the identities of some of their top intelligence operatives, as the United States tries to determine whether any of them had contact with Osama bin Laden or his agents in the years before the raid that led to his death early Monday morning in Pakistan. The officials provided new details of a tense discussion between Pakistani officials and an American envoy who traveled to Pakistan on Monday, as well as the growing suspicion among United States intelligence and diplomatic officials that someone in Pakistan's secret intelligence agency knew of bin Laden's location and helped shield him. Obama administration officials have stopped short of accusing the Pakistani government, either privately or publicly, of complicity in the hiding of bin Laden in the years after the September 11, 2001 attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. One senior administration official privately acknowledged that the administration sees its relationship with Pakistan as too crucial to risk a wholesale break, even if it turned out that past or present Pakistani intelligence officials did know about bin Laden's whereabouts. Still, this official and others expressed deep frustration with Pakistani military and intelligence officials for their refusal over the years to identify members of the agency, the Inter-Services Intelligence Directorate, who were believed to have close ties to bin Laden. In particular, American officials have demanded information on what is known as the ISI's S Directorate, which has worked closely with militants since the days of the fight against the Soviet Army in Afghanistan. It's hard to believe that Kayani and Pasha actually knew that bin Laden was there, a senior administration official said, referring to Pakistan's Army Chief, General Kayani, and the ISI Director General, Lieutenant General Pasha. But, added the official, there are degrees of knowing, and it wouldn't surprise me if we find out that someone close to Pasha knew. Consequences in Pakistan. Already, Pakistani news outlets have been speculating that General Pasha, one of the most powerful figures in Pakistan, could step down as a consequence of the bin Laden operation. The increasing tensions between the United States and Pakistan, whose proximity to Afghanistan makes it almost a necessary ally in the American and Allied war there, came as Al-Qaeda itself acknowledged on Friday the death of its leader. The group did so while promising revenge on the United States and its allies. Pakistani investigators involved in piecing together bin Laden's life during the past 9 years said this week that he had been living in Pakistan's urban centers longer than previously believed. Two Pakistani officials with knowledge of the continuing Pakistani investigation say that bin Laden's Yemeni wife, one of 3 wives now in Pakistani custody since the raid on Monday, told investigators that before moving in 2005 to the mansion in Abbottabad, where he was eventually killed, bin Laden had lived with his family for nearly 2.5 years in a small village a little more than a mile southeast of the town of Harapur on the main Abbottabad highway. In respect, one of the officials said, this means that bin Laden left Pakistan's rugged tribal region sometime in 2003 and had been living in northern urban regions since then. American and Pakistani officials had thought for years that ever since bin Laden disappeared from Tora Bora in Afghanistan, he had been hiding in the tribal regions straddling the Afghanistan-Pakistan border. A former Pakistani official noted that Abbottabad, the site of the Pakistani equivalent of the West Point Military Academy, is crawling with security guards and military officials who established a secure cordon around the town, raising serious questions of how the officials could not know there was a suspicious compound in their midst. If he was there since 2005, that is way too long a time for local police and intelligence not to know, said Hassan Abbas, a former Pakistani official now teaching at Columbia University. Mr. Abbas said there was a tight net of security surrounding Abbottabad because Pakistani officials were concerned about terrorist attacks on on sensitive military installations in the region. Art Keller, a former officer of the CIA who worked on the hunt for bin Laden from a compound in the Waziristan region of Pakistan in 2006, said the al-Qaeda founder's choice of the garrison town of Abbottabad as a refuge in 2005 raised serious questions. Bin Laden certainly knew of the concentration of military institutions, officers, and retirees in the town, including some from the ISI's S Directorate, Mr. Keller said. And because the military has also been a target of militant attacks in recent years, the town has a higher level of security awareness, checkpoints, and street surveillance than others. So, if bin Laden wanted to relocate in a populated area of Pakistan to avoid missiles fired from American drones, Mr. Keller said, he had many choices. So Mr. Keller questioned why bin Laden would live in Abbottabad unless he had some assurance of protection or patronage from military or intelligence officers. At best, it was willful blindness on the part of the ISI, Mr. Keller said. Willful blindness is a survival mechanism in Pakistan. The trove of information taken by the commandos from the compound occupied by bin Laden may answer some of these questions, and perhaps even solve the puzzle of where he has been in recent years. A senior law enforcement official said that the FBI and CIA had rapidly assembled small armies of analysts, technical experts, and translators to pore over about 100 thumb drives, DVDs, and computer disks, along with some 10 computer hard drives, 5 computers, and assorted cell phones. Analysts are also sifting through piles of paper documents in the House, many of which are in other languages that need to be translated. In Washington and New York alone, several hundred analysts, technical experts, and other specialists are working around the clock to review the trove of information. It's all hands on deck, said the official. Technical specialists are recovering phone numbers from several cell phones recovered at the compound. The experts need to distinguish foreign telephone contacts from many numbers in the United States, which supposedly undergo a separate legal review, the official said. We're also looking through notes, letters, emails, and other communications. We're looking at who owns the emails and what linkages there are to those people. The official said that the initial analysis would involve searching for information about specific threats or plots or potential terrorists sent to the United States or Europe, and that the FBI was pursuing a small number of leads from the information reviewed so far. So, in conclusion, there is much more work to be done, and it's not over yet. There is more to come. This is also another sign of the times, the end times, transition days, which is a continuing day-by-day process of extraordinary changes, happenings, and events. Revelation chapter 11. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship therein. 2. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months. 3. And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. 4. These are the 2 olive trees, and the 2 candlesticks, standing before the God of the earth. 5. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceeds out of their mouth, and devours their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. 6. These have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters, to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues, as often as they will. 7. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascends out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them, and kill them. 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. 9. And they of the people, and kindreds, and languages, and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. 10. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them, and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because these 2 prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth. 11. And after 3 days and a half the Spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. 12. And they heard a great voice from heaven, saying unto them, Come up here. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. 13. And the same hour was there a great earthquake, and 1/10 part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain of humans 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted, and gave glory to the God of heaven. 14. The second woe is past, and, behold, the third woe comes quickly. Again, it's time for all prophecy to be fulfilled, because everything is connected, and everything is numbered.